Hello and welcome to Sheepdog Says. I'm Sheepdog and today I wanted to talk about films, mainly because I'm really excited that the Infinity War film comes out on Thursday night, so it's only a couple of days away. I'm really looking forward to that. Obviously, it's 10 years in the making to get to this point. I'm nervous because some of my friends are going to see it straight away and I can't convince my wife to go Friday night because we have kids and we can't get a babysitter. But hopefully we'll figure something out, probably see it Sunday. It did make me think though, that and a conversation with some friends about just different cinema experiences we've had. One of them was talking about the last Marvel film they saw, and it was just one of the guys was a pain in the arse the entire film, and it just made me think about, I used to be quite irritating or just quite loud during films. Not the whole way through, although sometimes I guess depends on how boring the film was. But I just had a habit of doing something mid-film that accidentally caused an effect that I didn't anticipate. One example is during Gone in 60 Seconds, there's a really intense scene. I think it was Nick Cage. If I'm thinking of the right film, Nick Cage is doing this whole deep and meaningful conversation, and he basically just leans in and says, "I watched my dad burn to death in a vehicle." And without even thinking, I just blurted out, "Why didn't you drag him out?" And everyone around me just stopped what they were doing, watching the film, looked at me, and then you just heard the cinema erupt in laughter. And I just thought, that was awesome. I loved that. That was brilliant. I've only ever had that happen one more time, when on the screen it said, like, "Dear Sirs, I do not intend," and I just went, "To finish this letter," just completely random to the person next to me. And again, a few people around me just started giggling, which that one you kind of had to be there. I think the Gone in 60 Seconds one, it was a legitimate question. It was a criticism of the film. Who watches someone burnt to death in a car and doesn't try and help them? But anyway, I'm sure there was a good reason. The Lord of the Rings films, when they came out, twice I made... the first time wasn't major, but I was with some friends, and I think two were chatting in front of me, and I went in to shush them because the film was about to start. I leant down, I went, "Shh." And I didn't do it that loud, but the whole cinema just went deadly quiet. And then all at once, everybody just turned their heads towards me. It was like something out of a TV show, because everyone just went, whoosh. And I just sunk into my chair like, "Sorry, I was talking to them. I didn't mean to cause any problems." The second time when the Two Towers came out, for some reason we went to I think it's my friend's birthday, so we went to a special cinema where they gave unlimited drinks, which we thought meant Pepsi, Coke, that kind of thing. When we got there, they said, "No, it's tea and coffee. We make no exceptions. You've got to have tea or coffee." So we had to keep getting... We didn't have to. We were supposed to get up and get ourselves a tea on a plate and sit there and sip it on a sofa in this cinema. But being a greedy 17-year-old wanting his money's worth, I didn't just sort of take a tea, drink it. I was taking a tray of teas and it's very heavy. So I went out there, come back, and I'm walking through the cinema. This tray's shaking, everything's rattling, everyone's looking at me like, "What is this moron doing?" I missed all of the Gollum bits in that film where he's talking to himself and talking about his precious, and all the bits that the guy won awards for and the bits that people remember from those films, because I think twice I nipped out to get a tray full of tea. I don't even know why. I like tea, but not that much. I should have just sat and watched the film. I could have gone 2 hours without a drink, but the fact that it was free tea, I wanted my money's worth, damn it. I think one of the biggest stories I have from a cinema going thing was more the other people annoying me. I went to see a film. I think back in the day I used to visit my wife. Before she was my wife, she was my girlfriend. I used to visit her in Coventry. I lived in Hatfield. I used to spend all my money going to visit her every day. And we used to go every week, and we used to go see films at the cinema, no matter what was on. I'm pretty sure we went to see something and it was cancelled or wasn't on or it was fully booked, so we just picked whatever was available next, and that was a film called Keeping Mum. And the idea of the film was that this old girl comes to live with a family, and she's a bit weird and a bit odd and whatever, but they reveal about an hour in that she's actually the mother of one of the main characters. And the whole way through it's obvious, because that's the point of the film, and she's weird and she's their mum and she's a bit evil and naughty and does things like kill people and stuff, I think, if I remember rightly. But when she did that "I'm your mother" reveal, this American woman was sat next to me, And she was just like, "What? Oh my God, I don't believe it." It was just like the whole film, she'd been letting out all of these noises and being like a typical, stereotypical, just big personality woman, just shouting and hollering the whole film in disbelief. And yeah, this reveal came, and she's just like, "I don't believe it," and talking to us, and I just lent it to my wife, and without even, I was meant to just talk to her, but I said it so loud. I was like, "The film is called Keeping Mum. Who did she think the woman was?" And this woman just, the whole film then was just looking at me out the corner of her eye, just shooting me daggers, and generally just sort of annoyed with me for commenting. But that does frustrate me when someone's just being really, really dumb in a film. Like, at least mine are common comments on the weird plot stuff. I've got loads of films that I've got paid good money to see on release at midnight and then fallen asleep during. And that's really frustrating. I'm sure this happens to lots of people, but I don't remember how Kill Bill Volume 2 ends because I fell asleep during it. I even went to see a Superman thing, and I've tried to watch this on, like, it was a replay thing, and I've tried to watch this on DVD since, and I can't get through. I think it's Superman 2. I fall asleep through it every time I try and watch it. I've tried to watch that during the day, I've tried to watch that at night. I can't watch it. I keep falling asleep. It's nothing to do with the film even, as far as I'm aware. It just seems to be a coincidence. I had one where just another story. I got free tickets to see Les Mis, the musical, but when it was made into a film. I think it was in the newspaper, and so me and my wife went along to the cinema to see it. We had to sit right at the front, up like this. And there was a certain point during the film where loads of people were crying, and that's probably one of the only people, I think I was pretty much the only person there who wasn't weeping. And then, whilst eating my popcorn, I got some stuck under my eyelid, which I don't even know how that happens. I remember telling Kev about this, and he was just like, you're an animal. And I'm trying really hard to get popcorn out, and I'm like scratching away. It's driving me nuts. And after about 5 minutes, the guy next to me just looks at me, and it was basically, I must have looked like I was in pieces, and he just kind of offered me a tissue or something to say, like, "You're all right, mate. It's a bit of an emotional film." And I was just kind of like, I've got popcorn in my eye. Like, I don't care. This film's entertaining, but I'm not sad. I felt like such an absolute muppet. Everybody else there was an adult. We were quite excited about seeing this musical brought to life in the theatre. I had never seen it, never heard of it, whatever. I was just there for a big bucket of popcorn and the fact that it was free. It was good fun, but I enjoyed it. I quite rate it, but no, I made a fool of myself with the odd popcorn in the eye. I'm pretty sure the best thing I've done, the best cinema experience I've had, is when they made the Firefly movie, Serenity. I got to see an advanced screening of that. Now, it was, I say spoilers, it's an old film, so if you're that bothered, you'd have seen it by now. The weird thing about that was they didn't have all of the special effects finished, so they'd be flying through the air screaming in their ship, like, "We're going to crash land, we're going to crash land," and then it would cut to a completely white screen with a weird frame of a ship just going boop, 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 and it would just bumble along and explode. And yeah, it was really interesting just seeing what these films look like when they're not finished. But I remember that one of the major characters of the whole sort of franchise just gets pierced through the middle by this massive spike and dies. And I was just like, "No!" And the people that were making the film were there, so we were all just like, "You can't do that." But it was really cool. We got to go down to I think it was Regent Street in London, and there was like this green door, just a normal front door on the side of the road. Like, you walk along, there's a roundabout, you walk down the street, there's a green door, you knock on it, they answered it. It looks like a house from like that angle. Just someone answered it. "Hello, how can I help? You're telling me there for the screening?" They open it out, and it's just a really, really posh cinema all the way through. They had all the normal stuff they sell at cinemas. I don't think they were free at this thing. And again, I like free stuff, so I was like, the cinema was awesome. It was a bit more enclosed, but it had lots of seats. I think people from whatever company that made it, like Warner Brothers, were there. It was quite a cool experience. I've never done anything like that since, because I guess at that point I was really big into Joss Whedon and Firefly and that. So I had a reason to go, but that was awesome. I don't remember doing anything stupid in there other than it just being impossible to find this random door. I think we wandered around. This is before phones had like maps on them, so we were wandering around Regent Street for bloody ages trying to find it. I've had a similar thing like that with BAFTA. When I was doing Mature Gamer for the first time, we got invited to BAFTA. It was like a gaming award ceremony thing. I for nominations. And again, we got there. It was just down the road from Leicester Square. It's literally just a door. You knock on the door. When you go in, there's this massive hall. Like, rich people go to all these fancy stuff, all these fancy things, and they're all just in plain flat. You can't tell what's in there until you get in there. Buildings. They're not going to like museums and stuff. They're going to these weird holes in the wall that just happen to open out into Narnia. It's pretty mad, really. I need to find more of them. That's something that I'm going to set myself a little challenge. I want to go to like 5 of them in the next year. Just find these weird places. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm going to wrap it up. I just thought it'd be interesting to go through some random film stuff. Let me know of any funny stories from when you've been at the cinema. Have you been anywhere like that? Like I mentioned a moment ago, where you kind of, you know, it looks inconspicuous. It's literally a flat wall along a long line of walls, these things. London's full of old buildings. They all look the same. They all look completely plain. If you're ever in London and you have a look around, you'll start to notice there are just so many generic looking buildings that they don't look like houses, but they're not offices, and they're not like whatever. They just don't look right. They're not banks. You don't know what they are. But yeah, apparently they're all cinemas and major bars and award ceremony places and stuff like that, which is awesome. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Let me know your thoughts, as I say. Give me a like, a subscribe, and a comment. Give me some ideas for topics. I'm sort of at a point now where I'm just picking up on stuff that happens during the day. I'm just looking at like, I was literally just having a conversation on my phone with my friends on WhatsApp, and I was talking to them about keeping mum, and thought that's something I can talk about here because it's just, you know, it's a story. But you know, it's sometimes I just would like some ideas, really. It'd be handy for people to say, tell me about this, or talk about that, or what's your thoughts on such and such. I've started using the old trending app thing as well on YouTube to see what's happening. I don't really want to be someone who just picks up on current affairs and has a conversation. I don't want to start talking about the royal wedding or the royal baby or whatever, because that's not something I'm interested in. But no, it'd be cool to get your thoughts, your interests, find out what you want to see me rabbit on about, and yeah, I'll cover that off when I can. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good evening, and I'll catch up with you soon.